5 Mercury outboards that almost nobody talks about, and every single one of them punches way above what most boaters expect from the price tag. Not the V12, not the 808 concept. The engines Mercury quietly builds for people who actually need something that works every single day without drama. Number 5. The Mercury 4-stroke 2.5 HP. Most of the conversation around Mercury focuses on the top of the lineup. The Verado, the V12, the horsepower records, and those engines deserve the attention they get. But Mercury's lineup doesn't start at 600 horsepower. It starts at 2.5. And the reason the engines at the bottom get ignored is almost never about quality. It's about positioning. Mercury is very good at making their flagship products the center of every conversation, which means the motors sitting below the headlines tend to get lost. That pattern costs boaters real money, because some of the most practical and durable outboards Mercury builds are sitting in the catalog that most buyers scroll straight past. Starting with this one. The 4-stroke 2.5 is the engine almost every boater ignores because it's small, it's cheap, and it doesn't make headlines. But here's what it actually is. A single-cylinder, 85 cubic centimeter 4-stroke engine made in Japan, starting at under $1,000, with Mercury's build standards applied at every step. It planes a flat-bottomed punt carrying 2 adults and their gear. It has good fuel efficiency for its size. And for anyone running a tender, a dinghy, or a backup motor on a larger boat, it quietly does everything it's supposed to do without ever drawing attention to itself. The reason most boaters ignore it is the same reason it's worth knowing about. It doesn't look impressive, it just works. What also doesn't get said enough is that Mercury's small portable lineup, including the 2.5, is manufactured in Japan, not in the United States. That means the same country building Yamaha and Honda's small outboards is building these too, at a similar quality level, but often at a lower street price, because Mercury doesn't market the small stuff the way the big Japanese brands do. If you've been assuming the cheap end of Mercury's catalog is a compromised product, the manufacturing origin tells a different story. Number 4. The Mercury SeaPro lineup. This one is genuinely the most overlooked series in Mercury's entire catalog, and the reason is simple. Most recreational boaters don't know it exists. SeaPro engines are built for commercial operators, the kind of people who run the same motor every single day for an entire season. Fishing guides, ecotourism operators, construction boats. To earn that customer, Mercury had to build differently. Every SeaPro engine is validated to 3 times the life expectancy of Mercury's recreational motors. They use the largest gear case available for their respective horsepower level, which means more durability built into the lower unit, where most outboard failures actually start. They also include a gear case oil drain that lets you change the gear lube while the engine is tilted, without removing the propeller. That sounds minor until you've spent 45 minutes with your hands underwater, trying to do it the normal way on a cold morning. SeaPro engines range from 15 to 500 horsepower. If you put serious hours on your boat and you've never looked at this lineup, you've been buying the wrong Mercury. What makes this especially interesting for recreational boaters is that the same heavy-duty components and corrosion resistance built into the SeaPro for commercial punishment are directly available to anyone willing to look past the lineup they already know. You're not paying a commercial premium for the engine. You're just paying for a motor that was built to survive conditions most recreational boaters never even reach. Number 3. The Mercury ProKicker. Most anglers have heard the name but never seriously looked at what it actually does. The ProKicker is purpose-built for trolling, and the difference between it and a standard small outboard isn't cosmetic. The powerhead is specifically balanced and tuned for long hours of low-speed operation, the kind of running that chews through standard motors faster than anything else. It comes with vibration-absorbing wishbone mounts designed to isolate the motor from the boat so you're not listening to engine noise all day while you're waiting for a bite. It has a 4-blade high-thrust propeller matched specifically to the low-speed application, electronic fuel injection for reliable cold starts, and a multifunction tiller that can be adjusted for steering with either hand. It also includes a quick connect flush system, a no-spill oil change setup, and a lifetime maintenance free valve train. And for anyone who looked at the ProKicker and almost bought it before deciding on a Japanese alternative, here's the part that changes the math. The ProKicker under 30 horsepower is built by Tohatsu on the same assembly line with the same components as the equivalent Tohatsu motor sold directly at a lower price. The Mercury badge adds cost. If the Tohatsu is available in your area, that's the same engine for less money. Number 2, the Mercury V6 175 Pro XS. This is the engine that performance boaters consistently underrate because it sits between the entry-level 4-strokes and the higher horsepower V8 platforms and tends to get skipped in both directions. What makes it worth stopping on is the combination it offers at that price point. The V6 175 Pro XS runs on a mechanical shift system, which means when you're repowering an older boat that already has mechanical controls, you don't need to replace the entire rigging setup to install it. Digital throttle and shift systems are standard on most of Mercury's newer lineup, and upgrading an older boat's controls to match can add over $1,000 to a repower job. The 175 Pro XS eliminates that cost entirely. It also delivers performance-tuned output through Mercury's Pro XS calibration, which is set up to run at higher revs than a standard 4-stroke, giving you a faster hole shot and better top-end speed than the base 4-stroke equivalent. It's been consistently described as a genuine value pickup in the mid-range, and the fact that it gets overlooked next to the V8 platforms actually works in your favor on the price. The V6 platform itself is also lighter than a V8, which matters on smaller performance hulls where weight distribution directly affects how the boat handles at speed. If you're running a base boat or a lighter center console, and you've been looking at V8 options purely because of the horsepower number, the 175 Pro XS on a V6 can deliver a better overall package for that specific hull than a heavier V8 at 200 horsepower would. Number 1, the Mercury 4-stroke 150. This is the engine that mechanics consistently point to when someone asks where the real value sits in Mercury's lineup, and the numbers explain exactly why. When it launched, it was the lightest 4-stroke 150 on the market by at least 19 pounds. It has a 3-liter 4-cylinder displacement that is the largest in the 150 horsepower class, larger than the Yamaha F-150, which at the time of its launch retailed for roughly $2,500 more. It has almost 20% fewer parts than competing 150 horsepower engines, which translates directly into fewer things that can break, wear out, or need replacing. It runs on 87-octane regular fuel. The 60-amp alternator handles modern onboard electronics without straining, and independent testing showed it can match Verado 150 performance in almost every category except mid-range acceleration, where the Verado's supercharger gives it a brief edge. For a boat rated at 150 horsepower, which covers more hull models than any other power rating on the market, the 4-stroke 150 is genuinely the engine that delivers near-flagship performance at a price point Mercury designed specifically to undercut the competition. It was called cheap to keep when it launched, and that reputation has held. One detail that rarely gets mentioned is the maintenance design. Mercury built a QR code directly onto the engine label that links to factory videos walking you through every basic maintenance task: oil changes, impeller replacements, gear lube service. All of it, step by step, from the people who built the motor. That's not a small thing when you're at a dock somewhere, without cell coverage trying to figure out why something doesn't look right. The 4-stroke 150 was designed from the start to be owned and maintained by real people in real conditions, not just serviced by dealers with specialist tools.